Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And I was perusing The Athletic the other day, and I saw a very interesting article regarding the players from the metropolitan area, being Devils, Rangers, Islanders, likely to play in the Four Nations face-off in February, in lieu of the All-Star game, which in my opinion has become quite terrible and gimmicky in the past few seasons. I used to love it as a kid, and it's just kind of gone downhill in my opinion. They're bringing the Four Nations face-off as a little precursor to the Olympics, which will take place in 2026. So no All-Star game in 2025. They are having what they call the Four Nations face-off, a best-on-best international tournament. And I say best-on-best with an asterisk, obviously, because there's only four nations included in this tournament. The four nations being Canada, the United States, Finland, and Sweden. Obviously very good hockey countries, but there's at least a few that are left out on the outside looking in that I wish would have been included. And hopefully, we're going to see way more teams in the Olympics. So this is kind of like a little mini trial type thing leading up to it. But The Athletic put out an article talking about the guys from those three teams that are going to be under consideration or who they think will make the teams. And they broke them down into four separate categories. The first one being locks or close to it, good bets, maybes, and one dark horse from each team. So we start at the top with the locks or close to it. And at the top of the list, our man, Jackie boy, Jack Hughes. Unlike Zibanejad and Fox, Hughes wasn't one of the players already named to a Four Nations roster. He is as close as a lock as there is to join the club, though. He's averaged well over a point per game the past three seasons with 229 points in 189 games and is one of the most promising young stars in the league. The biggest question with Hughes isn't whether he'll make the roster, it's whom he'll play with. Sullivan will have a loaded forward group that is set to include Austin Matthews, Matthew Tkachuk, and Jack Eichel. He could use Hughes at center and play him alongside at least one elite wing like Tkachuk, or he could try him on the wing, potentially next to Matthews. Interesting stuff. No surprise to me. I would have said Jack Hughes is definitely a lock to make Team USA, so I fully agree here. And we go on to the next lock or close to it, Jesper Bratt of Sweden. They write here, the 26-year-old wing has emerged as a consistent force for New Jersey, scoring more than 70 points each of the past three seasons. He'll likely be in the top six forward group and can flank either Elias Pettersson or Zibanejad, his division rival. Jesper Bratt has been our most consistent and best forward, I would say, over the past few seasons. And in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. It doesn't seem like he gets the credit or recognition he deserves, but as Devils fans, we know what a gem we have in Jesper Bratt. And he's a lock or close to it for Team Sweden. Excited for Bratt to be on the big stage in the Four Nations face-off. And the last lock or close to it for our New Jersey Devils, newly acquired goaltender Jacob Markstrom for Team Sweden. Markstrom is safely one of the top three Swedish goalies and will have a good chance to be the country's number one at the tournament. He'll likely vie with Linus Ullmark for the starter's net. The 34-year-old Markstrom was on Team Sweden at the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. He went 1-0 with Henrik Lundqvist taking the net the other three games as Sweden's number one. And again, guys, I wanted Markstrom last season. Was very high on the possibility of getting him this summer. I'm glad Fitz finally got it done. I firmly believe Jacob Markstrom is going to give us 2 excellent years at a minimum. He signed for the 24-25 season and the 25-26 season. I firmly believe he's going to give us very good 2 elite goaltending for those 2 years and keep us as a real contender in the league. I firmly believe that. For everyone going, oh, he's 34 and he's ancient. I just don't know on what planet these people live on. We saw Bobrovsky, I believe, at age 35 this playoff, what he did in winning the Cup for the Panthers. And we saw, as Devils fans in 2012, a 40-year-old Martin Brodeur bringing our Devils to the Stanley Cup Finals the last time we made the finals. And Marty was 40 years old. And again, I'm not saying Markstrom is Marty. That's a complete disservice to Marty. He's the greatest of all time, hands down. Durability was one of the many things that made him the legend that he is. But I do think Markstrom is an upper echelon goaltender, and 34 years of age for 2 seasons doesn't scare me at all. And he'll likely be Team Sweden starter. I'm hoping for a variety of reasons that Linus Ullmark is absolutely terrible, and so are the Senators. I think you guys all know the backstory there. But if the Senators are struggling and the Devils do what they're supposed to do in the first couple months of the season, I firmly believe Markstrom will be the starter for Team Sweden. And it's gonna be hard to root against them in the tournament. But, country above all. Hopefully Team USA lights that ass up if and when they play. Well, they're going to play in the early round game, but if they came to the final, sorry, Jacob, we're rooting for you to get lit up. The Devils did not have any players in the good bets category, so we skipped to the next one, which is the maybes. And the first maybe on the list, erikhaula of Finland. Holl's ability to play center could boost his case for a roster spot. Finland should have Alexander Barkov, Sebastian Aho, Rupi Hintz, and Anton Lundell up the middle, but Holla could bring extra depth and shift to wing if needed, and I agree there. I think Holla is definitely a question mark, depending on how his season starts off. He could definitely play his way onto the roster for this tournament. I'm sure it's something he would love to do, and hopefully we see a big year out of Holla. A lot of us had slightly higher hopes for him for last season, but I do think he's one of the veteran guys on the team that could kind of rise to the occasion, and hopefully he has a great start to the season and plays his way onto the Finland roster. I would love to see it. And we go to the next maybe for our New Jersey Devils, Dougie Hamilton of Canada. Hamilton is coming off an injury-riddled season, and Canada's defensive group will be difficult to crack. He'll be in the mix with players like Riley, Pietrangelo, Drew Doughty, and Shea Theodore for one of the final spots. And I feel like Dougie got a little undersold here. Assuming he comes back from injury and looks like the guy we saw in 22-23, I think he would have to be upgraded, in my opinion, to the good bets. But Canada is loaded. That is a fair thing. Canada is loaded. They have tons of great defensemen. But I do think if Dougie comes back, starts the season off, and looks like the guy we saw before he was injured, and especially during that 22-23 season, absolutely lethal bomb from the point, an integral part of our power play. If we see that guy return, I think it's going to be very difficult for Team Canada brass to leave Dougie off of their tournament roster. He's just that good of a player, that big of an impact player, and I'm hoping, Dougie starts off hot and Canada can't say no, and we see Dougie Hamilton on Team Canada in the Four Nations face-off. And now we go to the dark horse from each team and our New Jersey Devils. Who's on the list? Lukey boy, Luke Hughes. Hughes is in the same spot as Miller, but he's nearly 4 years younger, so his production could take a jump while the U.S. brass is making roster decisions. And this is another one where I think a lot of it is going to depend on how his season starts. Hopefully this year, this is going to be Luke's second full season. Hopefully we see him cut down on some of the mistakes we saw last year. Hopefully he continues to contribute offensively and just tightens up a little bit in the defensive zone. If he could play better in our own end, cut down on some of those mistakes, I think there's a good chance we see Luke Hughes make this roster as well. Again, like Canada, Team USA is pretty loaded, especially on defense. And so it's not going to be easy to wrestle a spot away from someone else or kind of leapfrog somebody on, the list that Team USA is putting together. But if Luke has a good start to the season, I like his chances as much as anyone else of making the team. I hate to say it, but when both of your other brothers, quinnhughes and Jack, are both on the team, I think that could be to his advantage and where USA thinks it's beneficial to include Luke as well. And I don't think it would be unwarranted. He's definitely going to be right there on the cusp of making the team, I believe. So we will see how this all plays out. I'm rooting for all these guys to make their country's rosters. Love the Four Nations idea, the concept they came up with. I love international play. I love the World Cup when they did it. For the younger kids or fans that aren't aware, the 1996 World Cup saw Team USA beat a juggernaut Canada team. I highly recommend looking up clips or the full game. 1996 World Cup final. Absolutely amazing stuff from Team USA, and I'll always think about that team when watching international tournaments. But I love the Olympics. I'm a huge Olympic hockey fan as well. Ecstatic to see the NHL finally returning to the Olympics in 2026 in Italy, and I'm hoping to make my way out there. But Best on Best Hockey is back. Let me know what you guys think about the list that I shared here from The Athletic. What do you think about these particular gentlemen making their country's rosters? Do you feel like there's any other guys that they missed that could potentially make a case to be on their country's roster? And that's about it, guys. I'll be back soon. You know, we're in the slow times. Hopefully some more news comes out. Paging Dawson Mercer and his agent. Where are we at with the contract? I don't know. Hopefully that gets taken care of sooner than later. But anything Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. I love talking to you all. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.